Right now, over 30 million Canadians are about to face one of the most dangerous nights of this entire winter season. And if you are in Toronto, Ottawa, or anywhere on the prairies, what is coming in the next 48 hours could catch you completely off guard. But here is the thing most forecasts will not tell you. There is one city tonight where temperatures are going to feel like early spring, while the rest of the country is locked in a deep freeze below -20. Can you guess which one? Stay with me, because by the 5-minute mark, I will reveal the exact timing of when the brutal cold peaks in your city, when it finally breaks, and the one region that could see a shocking 30-degree temperature swing in just a few hours. First, the reward for sticking around. If you are anywhere in Eastern Canada, I have critical timing information coming up in about 90 seconds that could literally save you from frostbite tonight. And for those of you out west, there is a sneaky, dangerous weather trap forming right now that most people will not see coming. I will break that down city by city. But before we get there, drop a comment right now with the name of your city. I read every single one, and I will make sure your area gets covered in the next update. Let me set the stage. This winter has been shaped by two massive forces colliding at once. The polar vortex has been disrupted since late January, pushing wave after wave of Arctic air straight down into the heart of Canada. On top of that, the shift from La Nina to neutral conditions has destabilized upper-level wind patterns, creating a brutal February that just keeps delivering cold snap after cold snap. Toronto already smashed its all-time single-day snowfall record in January, making it the snowiest January ever recorded at Pearson Airport. And February is not letting up, not even close. Now here is where it gets interesting. I am going to take you on a coast-to-coast tour, east to west, and give you the exact breakdown for every major city. Do not skip ahead, because the most critical safety information, the part that could genuinely protect your family tonight, comes at the 3-minute and 20-second mark. Let us start in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Tonight, the temperature is dropping from -7 down to -10 degrees Celsius. Skies are mostly cloudy with some clearing breaks. No major snowfall expected, but here is what most people forget about Halifax. That Atlantic wind blowing off the harbor makes it feel dramatically colder than what the thermometer reads. Frostbite risk is real tonight. If you are heading out, you need a heavy winter coat, a toque pulled down over your ears, gloves, and a proper scarf. Drivers, watch for thin ice forming on bridges and hills. Monday keeps the chill going at -8, and you will not see temperatures nudge back towards 0 until Tuesday. Moving inland to Quebec City, and this is where the night gets serious. The temperature tonight will sit between -12 and -15. But here is the number that matters. Wind chill is pushing it down to -20, possibly -25. At those levels, exposed skin can develop frostbite in as little as 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes. That is less time than it takes to walk to the corner store. The cobblestone streets of Old Quebec look stunning under the gas lamps tonight, but they are treacherously slippery. If you are heading to any Carnaval de Quebec events, layer up like your life depends on it, because tonight it just might. Now, Montreal. And here is a twist most people will not expect. While the rest of Eastern Canada is locked in deep freeze, Montreal actually saw its daytime high climb to +3 today. +3. That is practically balmy compared to the -10 they had just days ago. But do not be fooled. As the evening rolls in, the mercury is sliding down to about -1, and this mild spell is temporary. By later in the week, the cold comes roaring back. Tonight, expect mostly cloudy skies with a chance of light snow. Winds around 20 kilometers per hour from the northwest. Humidity at 70%, giving you that signature Montreal winter dampness that seeps right into your bones. Here is the good news, though. Monday could actually reach 9 degrees before temperatures nosedive again. This yo-yo pattern, swinging up and down, is the theme for February across all of Eastern Canada. Do not miss the next section. What I am about to share about Ottawa and Toronto is critical if you live anywhere in Central Canada. Ottawa, the nation's capital, holds the distinction of being one of the coldest national capitals on the entire planet in winter. And tonight, it is earning that title. The thermometer is dropping past -10 and could easily touch -13 to -15 by midnight. The wind funneling along the Ottawa River corridor pushes the wind chill into genuinely dangerous territory. Even the Rideau Canal, the world's longest natural skating rink, is too harsh for skating tonight. Sunrise does not come until late, and sunset arrived at 5:38 this evening, meaning Ottawa has been dark for hours already. If your car is parked outdoors, brace yourself for a brutal cold start Monday morning. Make sure your furnace is running properly tonight. Toronto. More than 6 million people across the Greater Toronto Area are facing one of the coldest nights of the entire season. The high today only reached -10. Tonight, the mercury drops to -13. Now, here is why that number is alarming and why you need to pay close attention. The historical average for early February in Toronto is -1 to -2 during the day and -8 to -9 overnight. Tonight is blowing past those numbers by a wide margin. That gap tells you everything you need to know about the polar vortex driving Arctic air deep into southern Ontario. January was already one for the record books in terms of snowfall, and February is showing absolutely no signs of giving the city a break. Skies tonight are actually clear, and you might catch some stars if you look up, but that is a double-edged sword. Clear skies let heat radiate away from the surface much faster, making the night even colder than it would be under cloud cover. The TTC is running, but check for service alerts because extreme cold can affect rail switch equipment and cause delays on the subway lines. Toronto has activated extreme cold weather warming centers for the city's most vulnerable residents, people experiencing homelessness who are at the greatest risk on nights exactly like this one. Lake Ontario may already have shelf ice and frost formations along the shoreline, creating a scene that is equal parts stunning and eerie under the city lights. The encouraging news? By mid-February, there are signals that the blocking pattern overhead is weakening, which could bring a temporary warm-up. But tonight, -13 is the cold, hard reality, and you need to plan accordingly. Now we head to the Prairies, and if you thought it was cold in Ontario, hold on tight. Winnipeg. They call it Winterpeg for a reason. But here is a surprise. Tonight, Winnipeg is actually sitting at about -1 to -2. Sounds mild, right? Do not let that fool you for a second. Friday saw a daytime high of -16 with an overnight low of -20. And by Tuesday, the thermometer crashes back down to -8 during the day and -15 at night. Tonight is just a brief pause in the punishment. To put this in perspective, in many parts of the world, Winnipeg's average February temperatures would be declared a natural disaster. Here, they just call it Tuesday. Black ice remains a constant hazard tonight. Keep your winter survival kit in the vehicle. Blanket, candles, matches, water, and non-perishable food. Regina and Saskatoon in Saskatchewan are locked in deep cold that simply will not quit. Tonight, expect temperatures between -10 and -20. But here is the number that should get your attention. In Regina, where the terrain is so flat there is nothing to break the wind for hundreds of kilometers, a temperature of -15 combined with a 30-kilometer-per-hour wind produces a wind chill of -30. Frostbite on exposed skin within 5 minutes. 5 minutes. If you are anywhere near the Trans-Canada Highway tonight, visibility can drop to just a few meters in blowing snow. Serious accidents happen on these stretches every single winter. If you do not absolutely need to be driving, please do not. Calgary. And this is where the plot twist hits. While most of the prairies are frozen solid, Calgary today reached 9 degrees. 9 degrees in February. The historical average is -1. How is that possible? 2 words. Chinook winds. Those warm, dry winds that cascade down the eastern slopes of the Rockies can boost temperatures by 20 to 30 degrees in just a few hours. But here is the trap. Tonight, as temperatures dip back to -1, there is a 60% chance of rain showers. When rain falls on road surfaces at or just below freezing, it creates black ice that is extraordinarily slippery. This is the sneaky, dangerous situation I warned you about earlier. Calgary drivers, slow down tonight. Do not assume the roads are fine just because it felt warm this afternoon, and this warm spell is temporary. From mid-February onward, Calgary shifts back to colder than normal with above-average snowfall. Edmonton, Alberta's capital and the northernmost major city in Canada, is catching a taste of that same unusual warmth tonight, easing down to about -2 to -5. Mostly cloudy with possible light scattered snow and light to moderate winds. But do not get comfortable with these numbers. The longer-range outlook warns that the back half of February will bring severe Arctic cold intrusions as the polar vortex continues to wobble and send frigid air southward. Average February temperatures in Edmonton typically range from -6 to -14, and what we are seeing right now is just a brief break in the pattern. Edmontonians know the drill better than just about anyone in this country. West Edmonton Mall, the largest indoor shopping center in all of North America, becomes a warm refuge for thousands of people on nights like this. But life goes on outdoors too, and locals have long since mastered the art of winter survival. Plug in those block heaters tonight. Keep your gas tanks at least half full to prevent fuel line freeze-up. Park in heated garages if you can. Those are not just helpful suggestions out here. Those are survival habits that Edmontonians live by every single winter. And finally, Vancouver. Remember when I asked which city would feel like spring tonight? Here is your answer. While the rest of Canada shivers below -10 and -20, Vancouver tonight is sitting at 7 degrees, dropping to just 2 or 3 above zero. That is warmer than most European capitals right now. Think about that for a second. The temperature difference between Vancouver and Winnipeg tonight is nearly 20 degrees. Why such a dramatic difference? The Rocky Mountains act as a massive wall, shielding Vancouver from those southward plunging Arctic air masses, and the Pacific Ocean current flowing along the coast keeps temperatures mild year-round. The result is the mildest winter climate in the entire country, a place where downtown snowfall is rare enough to make the evening news. But Vancouver pays a different price for that mildness: rain. Tonight will bring drizzle to moderate showers, and you can count on it. February averages 16 to 17 rainy days here, with total rainfall between 135 and 150 millimeters. The skies will be overcast and gray with low clouds hugging the surrounding mountain peaks, that classic Vancouver look the locals know all too well. And with only about 3 hours of sunshine per day in February, seasonal affective disorder hits hardest right now. Vancouverites heading out tonight, do not forget your umbrella. Throw on a waterproof jacket and lace up some rain-resistant footwear. The wet streets can get dangerously slippery, especially on the city's famous hills. The good news for Vancouver? March is forecast to come in a full 4 degrees above normal, offering real hope for an early spring on the West Coast. Now here is the critical safety information I promised at the 3-minute 20 mark. Across the entire country tonight, prolonged cold exposure can bring on hypothermia and frostbite faster than you think, especially for seniors, young children, and anyone with cardiovascular conditions. If you must go outside, limit your exposure time, keep all skin covered, and head indoors immediately if you notice numbness or pain in your fingers, toes, nose, or ears. For drivers, conditions range from poor to treacherous across Canada tonight. Packed snow, black ice, reduced visibility. Drive slowly, leave extra space, and put the phone away. If you hit whiteout conditions, pull over and activate your hazard lights. At home, let your taps drip slightly on the coldest nights to prevent frozen pipes and clear the snow from your walkways. Your elderly neighbors might appreciate a hand with that too, and do not forget your pets. Dogs and cats feel the cold just as much as we do. Keep them indoors, limit walk times, and check their paws for road salt when they come back inside. Looking ahead, and this is important, the polar vortex remains unstable and forecast models suggest it may undergo a full split around mid-February. If that happens, expect extended cold outbreaks and increased storm activity for the rest of the month and possibly into March. The Prairies and Ontario will bear the brunt of it. But here is something to hold on to. The days are getting longer. Toronto will gain an hour and 15 minutes of daylight by the end of February. Calgary picks up nearly an hour and 40 minutes. Spring is coming, even if it does not feel like it yet. That is your complete coast-to-coast forecast for Sunday evening, February the 8th, 2026. Now, I need your help. Drop a comment below with your city name so I know where you are watching from. Tomorrow's forecast is going to cover something that most weather channels are not talking about yet. That potential polar vortex split I just mentioned. The models are showing something unusual developing around February 16th through the 28th, and it could change the entire second half of winter for millions of Canadians. You're going to want to see that breakdown. Stay safe tonight, stay warm, and I will